Hello, everyone. My name is Katy from Greenland Quilter. Today, I'm going to introduce a person who has influenced many into becoming part of the wonderful quilting world. I love how upbeat she is. Welcome, Yvette. Yvette of the Yvette Renee YouTube channel was the first quilting channel I came across with YouTube. I was a YouTube newbie, so I had started to explore when I stumbled onto Yvette's channel. Her video was an unboxing of a CottonCuts classic box, along with a Fat Quarter Shop Sew Sampler box, and she talked about the CottonCuts puzzle mystery and also about Sweetwater's quilt labels. Because of Yvette, I became a member of her channel, along with signing up for CottonCuts classic box, the Fat Quarter Shop Sew Sampler box, and the Sweetwater quilt label subscription program. Yvette has been such an inspiration to me because she promotes what she believes in. Her videos are real in that if she makes mistakes, we see that happen. Or if Jelly Bean gets in front of the camera, she doesn't edit him out. She is also the reason I came to know Becca of Sew Becca. I started out watching Yvette's channels along with Becca's. Because of Yvette, I have been able to learn so much more about sewing in places I could buy from that shipped to Greenland. I have been following Yvette since 2018, and I continue to do so. Thank you so much, Yvette, for having a channel that can inspire current quilters as we all are future quilters.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, that's quite an introduction. Thank you so much. Wasn't expecting all of that.
Yeah, well, I just wanted you to know that this is, you're an inspiration. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh my goodness. I'll try to make it short and sweet. I was born and raised in Louisiana and left Louisiana when I was 17 years old. Haven't been back since, but I've lived in lots of different places since then, and it's been really great. Not for military or anything like that. My husband is a theater consultant where they, renovate and build theaters like the Opera House, the Sydney Opera House. So it's been quite interesting and a whole lot of fun because I love to meet new people. Now, I just talked about Jim. Jim and I have been married for almost 30 years. We did not have any kids, but that was by choice. We've raised quite a few kitties over the years. And yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
So,
I'm in a nutshell.
Yeah. So when did you learn how to sew, and did someone influence you to want to sew?
Well, Katy, when I was growing up, on my dad's side, my parents divorced when I was 7. And so we would have Christmas separate. We'd have everything separate, obviously. And on my dad's side, lots of people were, like to make things with their hand. I think that started probably with my grandmother. My grandmother was a prolific crocheter. She tatted, she did like lots of everything, cross stitch, just everything. And believe it or not, I wouldn't say that influenced me in any way. I didn't, she never taught me anything. We lived, kind of far away. But there was one year I remember that for Christmas, we all had to make something. We pulled names and we had to make something for that person. So I did a lot of cross stitch, plastic canvas, some needle punch, a little bit, not too much. And my mom did try to teach me to crochet a few times. Didn't really stick until I got older. But as far as sewing, I didn't really sew. Nobody really influenced me to sew. I had an aunt who made clothes for people, like for a living. But like I said, they lived kind of far away from us, and it wasn't like we got to see each other very often. And so I didn't sew.
Okay. When did you discover that you wanted to make quilts, and was there someone to influence you into that?
That on that count, yes. So my high school best friend came to spend like a weekend with me and Jim when we moved to Connecticut, because we were about an hour and a half away from New York City, and she wanted to come. We were going to go to New York and have a great time. And she had taken up quilting. And so she brought me a quilt. And, when she first gave it to me, of course, I was like, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. I loved it. And then by the time the weekend was over, because she ended up finding a sewing machine that my husband had gotten when his grandmother passed. And so she sat there and was messing with it. I am nothing if not a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal. So but she left, and we promptly went over to a quilt shop and bought my baby lock allure.
Nice.
And the rest is history.
So, how long have you been making quilts, and has that evolved over time?
I started making quilts in 2001. And so it's been a little bit, and it has evolved. And in the beginning, I did a lot of learning. I took classes to like learn how to use my machine, but then after that, I kind of just learned on my own. I didn't really feel like all that comfortable in the group that was, that I had started to learn in. So it kind of made it difficult. I didn't really like mesh with anybody. It wasn't like a terrible thing or anything. I just didn't mesh with them. So I started watching videos online if I could, and just started sewing things. I did learn early on that I am definitely not a natural born sewer or quilter. My blocks are never straight. They're always too small usually. But I had so much fun. And then at some point we moved to Australia. So when we did that, the fabric there was a lot more expensive. And I did make probably 3 or 4 quilts while I was out there. We were there for 3 years. But mostly I went and hung out with my friends. I really took on that Aussie, way of life and embraced it completely. So it wasn't until I got back that I really started picking up quilting again, and got really involved in swaps. And yeah, that's pretty much how it has progressed along the years.
That's very interesting. What are your favorite fabric styles and designers?
Well,
You might be
for
like
me,
a lot of them.
yeah, I do. I like a lot of them, but I have to say that like when I walk into a quilt shop, the first thing that I'm always drawn to are the bright and vibrant colors. I found myself constantly gravitating toward Allison Glass, Libs Elliott, Tula Pink, of course, and so those are the ones that I will always go to first. It's like you could see actually behind me right there. There's probably some Allison Glass right there. But I also am really drawn to fabric where the designers have hand drawn their designs. So mostly Corey Dantini, Lisa Glanz when she has something come out, Sweetwater. 9 times out of 10, I love Sweetwater. Those are the designers that I'm always drawn to.
Awesome. Do you have any favorite quilt pattern designers that you like to follow?
I don't really. I do, but for me, I'm probably most drawn to like blocks, right? Because I do FPP, and I feel like I can find different blocks to put into a quilt in a different way. And sometimes I'm attracted to the kinds of quilts where they're very symmetrical, but most of the time I like very abstract things. And so I tend to I love Jen Kingwell, Quiet Play. I love her designs. Judy Niemeyer, of course, Jacqueline DeJong, Violet Craft. They make really beautiful quilts that I like. But as far as the block designers, I love Lily Ellis Stitchery. I have like almost all of her patterns. Same with Sugary Dew. She was like the first one that I bought, like almost all of her patterns. I have almost every single thing. I even like got her recent book and I got her to sign it and before she sent it to me. And not just me, there were lots of other people who could have that opportunity. And another one that I really like is Charisse Creates. She's really great too. You can find her patterns on Etsy. So, and I'm always looking for other people. I am really inspired by other designers. And if I find someone that I really love, I will always make sure that people know that I love this. Go check them out, you know, that kind of a thing.
Guess who else has the first edition signed copy of the Sugary Doo book?
Did
Me.
you get one?
I
Yay!
did. I'm planning on participating in her sew along from the pattern she's doing.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
She I have a finished quilt top that was from the first Bernina Sugary Doo cow or quilt along, and I, you know, that taught me a lot of new things that I didn't even know how to do.
Yeah.
When did you discover you wanted to become a quilt influencer by starting your own YouTube channel, and how has that evolved?
Well, I was not always a quilt influencer. In fact, I started my channel as an unboxer. I was, at the time, I was watching other people unbox, and coming back to the States after being in Australia, and they had such, or I had such like great friendships there, and you know, an active social life, and then came back here and that was completely shut off, like right from the beginning, and it was something that I sorely missed.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll just, you know, I'll start my own YouTube channel and this is going to be fun. And I don't care if I, you know, have a bunch of people follow me. I just want to like have a few and we can talk in the chat, in like the chats, you know, the everything, you know. I was like, I'll just do that. And then so I unboxed everything. From makeup to clothing, quilting, jewelry, books, planners, swaps, and the cat lady box. So I opened like everything. I was a prolific unboxer in the beginning. And at some point, believe it or not, I got tired of opening boxes all the time. It would take a lot out of me. I would get home and I'd have like 12 boxes sitting on the porch, and I would go, oh, I just don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing this. So eventually I thought, you know what? I'm just going to concentrate on quilting, because I wanted to make more quilts, and I had been so involved with the swaps that I was like, you know, this would be really great. I'm just going to do quilting. So I started to really focus, and that's kind of how that part got to where I was more of an influencer. I decided that I was going to start making quilts that other people had like quilt alongs for, and then they got in touch with me and said, hey, can you do that for us? So as far as I know, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, I was the first one to do it for CottonCuts, and I was the first one to do it for Fort Worth Fabric Studio, and I loved it. I just, you know, the structure of it, and especially when it was a mystery, you know, like not knowing what you were going to end up with, and just taking people step by step. People would ask me questions and I could answer the questions, which always felt nice. You know, if you feel like you actually know something you can share with people. So that's pretty much how it evolved.
That's outstanding. How did you just, well, you mentioned you CottonCuts. Did you just stumble onto them, or when you first started your first subscription, how did you find yourself there?
Well, as I said, I was a prolific unboxer. So I was on a regular basis always looking for new boxes that I could open and share with people. So I did find them, and gosh, I want to say that in October of 2016 is the first time that I put in an order for a classic box from CottonCuts. And I just I loved it. I thought it was a great idea because you could go in there and at the drop of a hat change what it is you wanted.
Yep.
And they would totally change it for you, and like in a real way that you could tell this is totally different. And there was always somebody who was designing your box, and they signed the top of it, and you had all this stuff going on. And I just loved the company. I thought they were great. Kim was very personable, like from the beginning. I was the member spotlight in December of 2016. So that made it a lot of fun, when they did that kind of thing. And it just made me want to do more. And I remember that Kim had asked me to do a block for them one time for the puzzle mystery quilt. And I think that was the first time I had heard about it. And so that was the one that took place just before the one that I actually did for the first time. And I've always loved CottonCuts and Kim, always.
Yeah, when I was talking to Kim on our interview, she said she had come to you and asked if you would be an ambassador. So would you like to talk about that?
Well, here's what I remember is first of all, I do think I was the first one, but yeah. Also, we weren't really called an ambassador at that time. It was just kind of like, hey, you want to work with me? You're going to make video. If the term ambassador came up, I don't remember that part because that's just something that everyone is, gets called.
Description of it, I don't know.
I think we just kind of said an affiliate or something like that before. Because it was kind of like affiliate marketing and, that kind of thing. But yes, she did. And I remember it started, I think it started probably because Kim and I were also just friends. At least that's how I see it. I just considered Kim to be a very close friend of mine, and at least in the quilting business. Yeah. And I just love her. She's always been inclusive for me. My very first quilt market, I went with Kim and the CottonCuts gang, and I stayed with them, and she didn't make me pay anything. She just said, come and, grab a bed and, you can come along with us. It's been great. And I have always held Kim in very high regard and respect her very much. And I consider her a very dear friend. I do pretty much anything for her.
Her company is exceptional, along with her customer service, and all of them just seem to be kind, and they treat everybody with respect, and that's something I love about them. I have noticed,
and it's always been that way without fault.
yeah, exactly. Even if it went, they lose out of it, they would fix it. Yeah, I have noticed that your channel has begun to evolve into a subject that you love and exceed so well with. Can you tell us about your love of paper piecing, how it has evolved? You have begun to start teaching paper piecing. What are your future goals relating to your love for paper piecing?
Wow. Well, it started, funnily enough, it started back when I was doing the swaps. I was a prolific swapper as well. Like, I was involved in so many swaps. I mean, I did hexies. I still have no clue what to do with all those darn hexies I got, but I did hexies for a little while. Just so many swaps that I was participating in. And I remember there was one swap that I participated in, and of course we always put pictures up, and I saw the pictures of a swap that somebody else had received. And oh my goodness, it was like perfect. And I kept thinking, how on earth? I was like, that person right there, she is like an amazeballs quilter, right? Like, oh my goodness. Well, come to find out, whenever I started researching and everything, that was foundation paper piecing. I had never heard of it. I was very intrigued, and I started researching foundation paper piecing. And the only but downside was that there was not a whole lot of how to do it out there. You could find some tutorials like in blogs, and it would be like, you know, a little description of what you're doing. There'd be a flash of a picture, and then like a little other description, a little picture of that, and then you get to the bottom and bada boom, bada bing, you got the thing. And I was like, okay, wait, there's like a lot missing in there, because that I don't know how you get from here to here. I don't understand. I'm very visual. I am very like, I have to see something in action, and there just weren't any YouTube videos on how to do it. So it took me close to 2 years to sort of teach myself how to do it, although I was definitely not perfect. I kind of cobbled it together and just got so excited, although there was also a lot of crying. I know that people probably call me the crying quilter. And so I just finally one day it clicked, and I've just been in love with it ever since, because if you're looking for your blocks to be perfect, that's my number one go-to. And like I said, my work was never perfect, like ever. And so it was just such a revelation to me. And it took me so long to learn how to do it that I just wanted to teach everybody how to do it. And I wanted to do it on video so that the people who had a hard time just reading instructions and trying to learn something just couldn't, you know, because that's where I was. It was something that I couldn't just pick up by reading an instruction manual. And so I started thinking, let me just teach people how to do it. And I actually, like, when I started my college career, I thought I wanted to be an elementary school teacher, but we started moving around so much that just never happened. And so teaching, meeting new people, sharing what I know with others has always been something that I love. And so that's how it got started. That's how it evolved.
Do you have future goals to become more of a designer and a teacher in the future?
Absolutely. I have, you know, lots of little patterns that I have designed. I have quilts that I've designed. Most of it I keep behind like my paywall in Piecing It Real, which is my online quilt guild. I'm reterming it a quilt guild. And so I do a lot with them, and I really plan to grow that in the future. And I still have so much to learn. I mean, I think we all should continue learning, like, forever and ever. Never think that you're better than anybody else, because let me tell you, that's a good way to get shot down. And so I know that there's tons more that I want to learn. I want to teach everybody everything that I know, and I would really love be you know, known for teaching foundation paper piecing, and known for being kind to other people who are coming up and trying to do the same things that I'm doing now. I truly believe that there's room for all of us. Not everybody's going to like me, and that's okay. Sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow, because I want everybody to love me. Yep. But it's true. It's you're not going to be everybody's, you know, piece of cake, and like, everybody's not going to love you. So there's an audience for everyone. And I try to remember what it's like, or what it's like to try to come up and be new and not know where to go or what to do, and asking questions and being shot down and, you know, ignored or whatever. It's not fun. And
Yeah.
So I try to do that.
Yep. I think you're doing a super job. Can you tell us about, yeah, can you tell us about your retreat activities and what your future goals are for that? Also, can you talk about your virtual retreats? Because I've recently heard that you had one, and what can we learn from them?
Okay, well, as far as retreats go, I do have 2 in-person retreats scheduled for next summer in 2024. I have one in Breckenridge, Colorado, and another one in Copper Mountain, Colorado. And I try never to say never, but I have a feeling that those 2 retreats are going to be my last ones. So if you've ever been interested in coming to one of my retreats, those are your chances. And I think that what I'm going to do going forward is make the retreats that I have be more accessible to people all over.
Yeah.
And so what I've started doing is the virtual retreats that I've been holding, because like the one that I had this past weekend, that was my 3rd one. And that one was actually a 2-day retreat because we did this really awesome, if I might say so, pattern for Halloween. And Halloween is like, for me, I love
your
Halloween.
favorite holiday. I know. Yours and Ian.
It is. Yes. So that was a lot of fun. We had a really great time. And those retreats have been for FPPers who already know how to FPP and just want to come on, have a pattern that's been designed by me, sit and sew with me and a group of people who love to FPP and just have a great time over, usually I have them for 1 day for like 8 hours. Because I think that's easier for people, like to just be able to commit to 1 day. But every once in a while, I think I'll have like the 2-day because those were fun too. And so that's what I've started doing. And I'm going to hopefully not hopefully, I'm developing a curriculum right now where I can actually teach beginning foundation paper piecing. So if you've never done it before and you want to learn, it'll be a live training on Zoom to learn how to do it. That will definitely make it more affordable and open to people who can't travel or whatnot, because at my retreats, I teach foundation paper piecing, if you don't know how to do it already. And so this is just like an extension of me being able to teach people what I know. And like I said, I'm always learning something new. And when I do, I pass it along because that's what we do.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. The virtual retreats, I already attend one virtual retreat every quarter. And I tell you, it's my favorite time to do it, to be part of it, because I get to, learn something new, or even if I've already known it, I get to sew with other people and we spend the whole weekend sewing and laughing and having a good time.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I love them.
Did you know that there are many of us who became involved because of your YouTube videos?
Well, I have heard that. Yes. It brings me so much joy and at the same time really humbles me.
I didn't mean for this to happen, but I thought it might. Sorry.
It's okay.
You deserve all the accolades because you've been one of the biggest persons on YouTube pushing, quilting and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that the hardest part for me is kind of realizing that what I now know was probably my heyday is behind me. I feel like I've been forgotten a lot.
A lot of us that has not heard about you.
Well, it's just hard for me because I'm just one of those people who thinks that I can have everybody like me. And to find out that that's just not true, even though it's reasonable. I mean, it's logical. It's not like something that anybody's doing to hurt me but that's how I take it initially. And I wish I would have known then what I know now, because I would have lived in the moment more. You know what I mean?
Sometimes this kind of thing is like a teaching moment, and you learn something from it, so that you don't find yourself in that same position again. You do 1 day at a time, and you enjoy your life as best as you can, and you teach what you love, and that's what matters. That's what makes you happy.
Yes. So I do try to learn from that and know and tell myself now, live in this moment. Stop thinking about what's, you know, way down the line. You need to, you know, we are not promised tomorrow.
Oh, we're not.
So you know, it's like you need to do that. You need to really live now and stop thinking about how much of a failure you think you are, because you're probably not, you know. But we're so hard on ourselves in everything, like when we're creating, when we're, you know, every single thing, we're so hard on ourselves, and it can be hard to let that go. But I'm trying to learn that, and I try to share that with people so that they can hopefully learn from the things that I'm learning along the way as well.
Some
So
of us, you know, some of us come from a generation where women never were raised to be, you know, go out and get it done kind of thing. You were supposed to stay at home
right.
and do whatever. So yeah, I think you're a strong woman, and I have learned so much from you. I really have. Do you have any future endeavors that you want to talk about that we haven't already talked about?
Well, one thing I could say is, you know, I know right now that the things I thought I would have accomplished by today have pretty much all not happened. So while I do think that it's good to have future goals and to try to work toward them, I also know that if that doesn't happen, it's okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the future, I would really love for Piecing It Real to grow into just a real community of foundation paper piecers who all love and support each other.
Yeah.
So that's I would love for that to happen. I would also really like to be known as a foundation paper piecing teacher. You know, I'm gonna do what I can to like work toward that. And you know, I don't need to be Judy Niemeyer by any stretch of the imagination. I just kind of, you know, if I could make a tiny name for myself in something like that, it would really make me feel like I'm accomplished and that I had a purpose.
Yeah.
A lot of times I wonder about, you know, what's my purpose? What's my purpose here? I don't feel like I have fulfilled my purpose. And so that would go a long way to making me feel like I contributed to others.
I think your purpose is what you've been doing already, as far as teaching paper piecing and exposing many of us to it that have never done it. And, you know, I think you found the right place. It's just, yeah, I have a friend that always has this little saying. He says, it's all about timing. And he is so right. When the right time comes along, it's going to blow up and you're going to be so busy. You know, you just have to be, you know, open for that.
That would be good. I would love to be able to hire people to help me, because that's really hard. Doing everything yourself is really hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not great at everything. So, you know, I have lots to learn on tech. I have lots to learn on marketing, you know, so believe me, there's totally, you know, lots to still learn, as I said. So I don't know that YouTube is really going to be a strong focus for me going forward, because it hasn't really gotten me anything, at least not lately. For a long time, the channel was growing and I had, you know, people subscribing to my channel or just liking, whatever, you know, subscribing to the channel. And for a really long time now, probably, well, in my mind, too long, I've not grown at all. And
Right.
so I have to just, there comes a point where you just have to accept that. And because I see that, all it does is hurt me. And so I need to kind of back off of it for a while, because it makes me compare myself to other people too much, which is never good. So I'm going to be backing off of YouTube for a bit. But I'm looking in a different direction. So that's what I'm doing.
Somebody told me today when we were talking about my YouTube channel that don't make a comparison of yourself with other YouTubers, because it will only cause you pain, and it's pain that you don't need to incorporate into your life. And he's
It's
so
so true. And the thing is, it's something that you pretty much cannot control. It's not like you're gonna have like this, there's like a magic button to push and suddenly, such and such is going to happen.
yeah.
I've heard so many times, and I know from experience about other people who have had, that viral video, and so what happens, it can happen for you. But I feel like I'm beyond the point that that should have happened.
Yeah.
And I'll still make some YouTube videos. I'm just not, it's not going to be my focus anymore. It can't be, because it is literally impossible for me not to compare myself to other people. And I don't know if everyone else has that problem and just says that they don't. But I can say one thing, and I can tell you that it's just not true. I can't not compare myself to other people. And so I'm just going to back off and let other people have the success. And that's okay. I can get success, or what I feel is success, elsewhere. And I have to just change my focus. I really do.
Okay. Can you share 5 tips for someone who is new to making quilts that you think would help them become more comfortable while learning to make quilts?
You did tell me about this question.
Yeah.
Before we even started, and I sat and
Just
thought
get a
about
mind
this
blank.
such a long time, because it's like I could say the same things that people will say, like, learn your machine, and but honestly, like, I feel like you should try to, if you're going to find someone to follow and learn from, make sure that you're doing that with a person who's going to put you first. The people who are really, I feel, and this is horrible to say, because I really never thought that quilting community was like this, but there are so many people who just want to tell you what you're doing wrong, and to make them feel like they're the expert. I'm the expert, and that's wrong what you're doing. I would just suggest not learning from that kind of person. If someone tells you that you're doing it wrong, but you're creating something that looks like what you wanted it to look like, then you're not doing anything wrong.
Right.
When you create things, you're creating that from your heart. That's how I feel about it. Like, the things that we make by hand, that we make with another person in mind, it's not, first of all, you're never going to be perfect. None of us are ever going to be perfect. And I'll never forget, there was one Fort Worth Fabric Studio quilt, mystery quilt, that I was putting together. It's one of the first ones. It was like a Halloween one. You can go back and find that video. I have playlists. You could probably find it. And I had made this huge mistake. I mean, huge. So I at the very last video, I was like, I'm going to show you guys why you have to stop being so hard on yourself. I zoomed right on in, and I went right to that mistake. And I mean, y'all, I'm talking like it was a ½ inch off. It was not like, oh, it's so minuscule. Oh no, it was bad. But when I pulled the camera back and I
See it.
showed the whole thing, you couldn't tell at all. You couldn't see the thing. You could not see it at all.
Yeah,
and so that was the whole point, is that we're so hard on ourselves. And you're like, oh, I'm gonna, because for me, if I make a mistake, I can guarantee you that 9 times out of 10, that sucks staying in there. I ain't ripping that whole thing out. You can just forget it. It's gonna stay like that. No, ain't gonna happen. There was one CottonCuts quilt, in fact, that one for the Stratford that I sent to you. I lost a whole clue. I lost the whole clue. And so at the time, Jenny was working there, and I called Jenny, and I was like, because I was finishing it late, and I was like, y'all don't happen to have like clue, whatever it was. I don't even remember what it was. And she was like, oh, we might be able to cut it. I don't know. And I said, you know what? I got the cat fabric. I'm just going to pull some cat fabric from my shelf and I'm just going to slap it in there. I don't care. So I have like what is obviously not the same fabric in that quilt, and I know it's there. I mean, you can look at it and go, well, obviously that little fishbowl looking like a kid print is totally not go with that.
Yeah.
I just left it all in there, quilted it, bound it, and let me tell you, those quilts that I sent you pictures of, I had to wash them because they are well used and well loved.
Hey, that's what matters. And the other thing is you used your ingenuity to fix a problem without just putting it aside and saying, oh, I can't do this because I'm missing a piece. You use fabric and
Right?
you did what you had to do to make it finish. And that's something
That's it. She told me how to cut the fabrics.
Yeah.
She told me what fabrics to cut and all this kind of stuff, and I got them in there. I was like, yep, no worries, I got it.
You were talking about making everything perfect. My thing is we should not be striving for perfection on quilts. What we should be striving for is to enjoy the process. That's what we all should be doing, and not worry about whether there's a mistake in it or a point is a little bit off. I mean, none of mine are perfect, but I've also gotten better over the last since 2017. My Stratford is pretty. If you saw my Stratford, you'd see. Because I didn't have a clue what I was doing, back then. Is there anything?
Yeah, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
Embrace the mistakes, because that's how you learn. That's how you learn. It's always good. Never stop learning. Always humble yourself and know that there is always going to be somebody who could teach you something. You don't know it all. I don't care how long you've been doing anything. You can always learn something from somebody. Even if I'm teaching someone, they can teach me something. It's like you have to be open to that and not put yourself up on a pedestal, because none of us should be up on a pedestal. You know what I mean? Like, we're all putting our panties on one leg at a time. And well, I guess unless you hop in on I guess you can do that. But we all do the same thing, and none of us is better than the other. And that'll help you not to get taken down a peg or two.
Is there anything else that you want to share with us that we haven't talked? Sorry, I'm about to cough. Let me.
Oh, you're
Yeah, I was about to cough. I thought I'm been sick. Is there anything else you want to share with us that somebody might not know about you that you wouldn't mind sharing?
You know what, Katie? I think everybody knows pretty much everything about me. If you if you have followed me on YouTube, I don't hold anything back.
No,
like you said,
I think you've been all out on that. Yeah.
I don't think there's very much that people don't know about me. I have, I've been told recently that I probably share too much and give people who don't like me ammunition against me.
Yeah.
And of course, that never crossed my mind, because who doesn't like me?
Probably like me.
I just always feel I try to be so nice to everybody, but maybe that rubs people the wrong way. I don't know. I don't know. I've always
everybody was good, and the older I get, the more I realize that not everybody is good.
Right. So I've been trying to keep things more inside. I've definitely, over the years on YouTube and in our quilting community, unfortunately, it has made me into more of a distrustful person, and I don't really like that about myself. I never thought that I would be like that, because I always trusted everybody and thought that if I was nice to someone, that they would be nice back. Yeah. And if I helped someone, that they would help me back. And that just doesn't happen. And so that was a rude awakening for me. And so it's definitely made me more secretive, more closed off. I honestly had no idea why you would want to interview me. because I mean, you interviewed Kim. Kim is amazing. Kim is like, I just love Kim so much. And that's the other thing, is that for me, I think that I feel too strongly for some people. I've scared away a lot of people, I think, by overly expressing how much I love them and respect them. And that's the only thing I could think of. But I've had a few people who have become very standoffish because I tend to.
Yeah, it's like I told you, why not you? I mean, you're the first person that sat down and was talking about quilting, and I've sat and watched you put blocks together. And even when you made a mistake, you didn't like edit it out of your channel. You know, that when you put it up, it was there for us to learn from.
Well, if I'm going to learn from it, then you should learn from it. If
Yeah,
I'm going to make that mistake, then I should show you how to fix that.
Yeah. So, that's why I wanted to talk to you, because there's a lot of us who started with you, and you needed to hear that.
I remember sending you a big old box of chocolate.
You did. Oh,
that's one of the first memories I have of you is you were on. I must have been on a live, because you said something about you were in Greenland and you couldn't get chocolate. And I was like, I'm going to send you a box of chocolate. Send me an email.
Yeah.
American chocolate, right.
Yeah. I met 3 quilters this summer that were on cruise ships, and every one of them brought me a bag of Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh, nice. So you got the American chocolate.
Oh yeah, because I can't just walk in a store and buy anything like that. And I'm not much
right.
I'm not a big sweet tooth person anyway, when I had access to it all the time, it was once in a while when I would eat it. But when you're away from it for like however many long,
that's when you want it. I know, it's like when you can't have it, that's what you want. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you saying yes. You have made my day that you finally said, okay, we'll do this. And I really do.
Well, Katy, I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Because I don't know. I didn't see it. And I'm happy to do this for you. I'm happy. I think after a while, also, I watched your video with Kim, and Kim said that you should never shut a door. That if a door opens, you should always go through, because you never know what's on the other side. And I finally thought to myself, just do it. Katy wants you to do it. This door has opened, and you never know what's on the other side. So I was happy to do this for you, and it actually made me think a lot. And so I appreciate that. I really do. And so thank you so much.
I just want to make sure that you know that there's a lot of people out there that care about you and that are appreciative of all the things that you've taught us and shared with us. That's part of what makes online friends so good, is when they do want to share, and you, with many other creators, open your lives up to people like us, and that means something. So
well, I am really happy. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And thank you for following me for so long. I appreciate that too. I wish that I could get to know every single person that does or that did follow me. I like to do that. Like when I'm on lives, I like to feel like I know everyone. Yeah. And so that's always been a big thing for me too. And I have met some really nice people on YouTube, and I don't regret it. I definitely love it. And yes, I wish that my channel were still thriving, but I'm taking from it the things that I got and being happy for that. So
yeah, and now, but also by taking from it, what road you're ready to take, because you've already said you want to be more of a designer and teacher of paper piecing. So now this is your calling, and that's what you need to follow.
I think that's very true. It's very true. And I'm just, I've done a lot of pivoting, and I'm just gonna do it again.
Yeah.
And something will stick. Something's gonna stick one day.
You get to enjoy the ride while it's going on, That's how I see it.
Yes, I
Enjoy the
definitely
ride.
need to enjoy every day.
Yeah.
Yes, enjoying the ride.
Yep.
Definitely gonna do
You
that.
can't go once you miss the ride, you can't go back and get back on it. So
That's true. Well, good luck, Katy. I really hope that your YouTube channel is a success. I really do.
well, the reason I'm doing this YouTube channel and stuff is I have this burning desire to get we have 11 years of videos from Greenland. And what you mentioned earlier about, we're not guaranteed the next day. And it made me realize after everything that's gone on in our world that I need to get my stuff up so if something were to happen, my kids would have it, and that's important. Along with the quilting stuff, because one of my daughters is really interested in it. And the same daughter is also starting to garden, which just makes my heart full,
Amazing. She lives in the States?
Yeah, one lives in Florida and the other two live in California. So
Okay.
the youngest one in California that's decided she likes plants. And, I wanted to pass this, I don't know what you call it, but I have been growing plants since I was 11 years old. That's 50 years I've been growing plants. And I wanted to pass this on to them. So she's doing pretty good right now. But we'll see. Thank you.
Well, everything is a learning process. So she's going to do
stop
fine.
learning.
If she's passionate about it, she will learn.